Hey guys, this is David. It's day 14 of PegNet crypto and DeFi videos. So I've got my Swiss shirt on today because I'm going to talk about the birth of Crypto Valley. For any of you that don't know, the official home of crypto is Switzerland and Liechtenstein, the Crypto Valley. And for good reason, more than half of the world's blockchain companies are based in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. It really started in 2013, 2014, when people started building out foundations and were starting to look for the best jurisdiction in the world. Zug, Switzerland, really stuck out because they have a very powerful and, if you will, immutable way of doing foundations. That once you set up a foundation, it can effectively continue running without interruption, and it's sort of well enshrined in the customs and regulations of Switzerland, specifically Zug, Switzerland. So Zug, ZUG, is a canton, a member state, if you will, of the Swiss Federation. And there's a lot of local power in the Swiss governance structure. And so they set very friendly type of approach, really for all bearer assets. It's the home of a lot of the world's custody of physical gold. And so it's not too surprising that the crypto ecosystem also decided to go to Zug for everything blockchain, because if you're holding a private key, it's an asset where it's a bearer asset. So there's very much a good analogy there. So in 2014, especially when Ethereum was looking to set up their foundation, Charles and Vitalik and the others spent some time there and really found a friendly environment, decided to set up the Ethereum Foundation in Switzerland, and everyone has really followed them in afterwards. So Tezos, a lot of the newer projects are all either based in Zug or Zurich. The other cantons have started to get in on the game. They saw the success that Zug had. And now the Crypto Valley, which I would describe as everything from Switzerland to Liechtenstein, really that area of a couple of hours of driving time or train time, you have easy access to a major finance center, which is Zurich, 3 million people in the greater Zurich area, tons of banks and other infrastructure. There's also a lot of universities like ETH, well, appropriately named. Switzerland's one of their largest universities, ETH, as they would call it. But ETH University is based right there in Zurich. They've got their campus there. And you've got all the major tech companies, from Google to SAP. I think Google's second largest campus is there in Zurich. So globally, right? So at least has been for a long time. So a lot of their engineers that work on the most compelling and deep problems around AI, machine learning, natural language processing, all of the sort of core intellectual property, a lot of that's done in Switzerland. So there's a deep engineering tech bench. Zug is only about 25 minutes on the train right outside Zurich. So from an American perspective, they're very much a suburb of the city. And so it's super easy to get there. And a lot of people live in Zurich. They'll commute into Zug. The company will typically be based in Zug. But then Liechtenstein also plays this important role, because Europe is not part of the European Union, but Liechtenstein is part of the European Economic Area. And so getting licensed in Liechtenstein passports into all of the other EEA countries, which I believe there's 29 EEA countries. I'll have to look it up. But vast markets of effectively the entire EU are open to you if you can get licensing in Liechtenstein. And Liechtenstein is very close. You're talking an hour and 15 minutes on the train from Zurich. So it's like the distance from San Francisco to San Jose, right? It's all still part of that same ecosystem. I've spent a lot of time over there, and you can make easy day trips into Liechtenstein, do some meetings, and come back for the evening, right? Just like you would in the Bay Area. And so it's been cool to see it evolve. There are now more than 800 crypto companies and blockchain foundations and Bitcoin and Ethereum related technologies, all based in Crypto Valley. The biggest concentration is in Zug, but Zurich, Lucerne, there's many in Geneva. There's pockets sprouting up all over the place, but there's a real concentration in the greater Zurich area. And so if you're a crypto entrepreneur, there's effectively no better place in the world to base your foundation, especially if you're doing things that are focused on DeFi or dApps or other decentralized infrastructure. Switzerland is really, really friendly for that. And now there's an ecosystem of investors at Crypto Valley Venture Capital Firm. They've got an incubator and an accelerator right there in Zug, 5-minute walk from the train. They've got offices full of co-working space for startups. They do several cohorts a year, one in the spring and one in the fall, very much in like a Y Combinator type model, give them early stage capital and help them build up, right? And in addition, you can get started, you can launch, you can incorporate, you can get banking there, which is still a problem for a lot of jurisdictions where blockchain startups are based, and you can get listed. So the first Crypto Valley-based exchange has been live since last year, Smart Valor, Smart V-A-L-O-R, Valor, however you want to pronounce it. Smart Valor has done a great job. They've listed a lot of the top cryptos. They're licensed in Liechtenstein and in Switzerland to do effectively utility and crypto token trading. And to have that part of the ecosystem, I think, is critical. So you want to be all the way from, hey, I can get going, to, hey, I can find the best engineers. Oh, and there's the investors I need, and I can eventually list my utility token on a market. That's extremely compelling because effectively you now have a vertically integrated ecosystem from front to back, right? The whole way through the process. And so that's so exciting to me. I've looked at a lot of jurisdictions. There are other good hotspots around the world. Some foundations in Asia are based in Singapore, and that's fine. I think Singapore is great. The challenge there is there's not as much of an engineering bench. It's much more of finance focus, and I really think you have to have a combination of the two. Obviously in Austin and Denver and Silicon Valley, there are crypto companies, but it's very challenging in the US regulatory environment in order to launch these decentralized protocols, right? The regulations in Switzerland are 5 years ahead, maybe more. And so there's just a lot more clarity for how to launch protocols that need foundations and open source as opposed to companies and a traditional approach. So I've started to say that blockchain has largely been built on great North American entrepreneurs and engineers housing in friendly European jurisdictions, especially Crypto Valley, and funded by Asian capital. That's really the success story. That's how the birth of Crypto Valley really started with Ethereum, was them coming out of North America, realizing they needed a friendly jurisdiction in Switzerland, setting up their board meetings, this famous spaceship, their original office, where they did a lot of the early coding of Ethereum, built out engineering teams in Berlin and other European areas nearby, and then eventually realized that they also needed to connect into the world's capital markets. And a lot of that is in Asia. So it's going to Singapore and Hong Kong and Shanghai and really spreading the word about what you're building. So, I would say if you're an entrepreneur considering where to go, Crypto Valley is the place for you, hands down. There are other jurisdictions, there are other good places, but I would say there are none that have that perfect combination of engineering talent, existing ecosystem, investors that are already investing based on this type of thesis, very strong and clear regulatory agenda. In fact, they're passing even more laws about enshrining blockchain as the way to record the ownership of a security, for example. And because of how flexible their canton system is, effectively now there's a great competition going on between all the municipalities and states inside of Switzerland to pass even better sort of incentives and rules that make it easy for crypto entrepreneurs to set up. So I've been lucky that I already was a fan of Switzerland. I took my wife there for our honeymoon in 2011. I started going there for crypto purposes in 2013 and 2014, and have just been spending more and more time there ever since. Planning to move there with my family. Corona has delayed us a little bit. I was actually scheduled to speak 3 times in Switzerland during March, in Zug and Bern and Zurich, but obviously all that has been rescheduled. Though some people have set up virtual events, and that's been a lot of fun to participate in those. So I'll need to travel a lot. It's not I want to hunker down in Switzerland and be isolated there. Switzerland is wonderful because it's connected to North America and to Asia. And in fact, the time zone is a lot easier to work with. Right now in the US, I wake up and it's already late afternoon. In Switzerland, it's already nighttime. In Asia, so it's kind of difficult to span those 3 continents. But if you're in that time zone in Europe, middle of your day, you can have your morning calls with Asia when it's afternoon for them, and you can have your afternoon calls with the US or North America when it's morning for them, right? So you can effectively span those time zones a lot more efficiently. And for crypto being naturally global, that just makes a lot of sense. So, encourage you guys to check out Smart Valor, check out CVVC, check out all the events every year. Davos obviously has a huge presence and effect on the community as everybody goes there for the World Economic Forum in January. So there's just all this stuff going on there. I at least am not willing to wait for legal and regulatory reform in the US or other places to catch up. I want to be building now. I want to be building the next 5 years. I want to be supporting great projects. And so I'm going to be spending hopefully the majority of my time soon enough in Crypto Valley. So, wanted to explain sort of why I'm so passionate about that. I wrote a couple of articles, and I'll include them in the link, about why now is the time to move to Crypto Valley, and also how to launch there, with a lot of practical tips and resources. I've also recently launched CryptoValleyStartups.com, and it's just a simple Medium website. Send me resources and I'll get them added in there. I want to also feature writers on Medium that are putting up good content about Crypto Valley and the startups that are based there. So anyway, thanks for being on this journey. Great talk with you guys today. And wash your hands, be awesome to one another, and crypto on. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.